What's going on, guys? Flyby Simulations here, and welcome back to another full flight video on this channel. So, it's been a while. Last time I said that the uploads will be more regular on this channel. However, I wasn't able to commit to that because university assignments can get very, very tough. Unlike some of the other people posting during this time in quarantine where nobody's having any other jobs, they're kind of free, so they have more time to sort of focus on YouTube. University isn't really like that. It's sort of like we have assignments and exams and tests and stuff like that which keep coming up, including midterm exams, which are pretty important. So I had to commit to that. However, I think for the most part, I'm done with all of that stuff. I've actually pre-studied for the future test so I can focus a little bit more on YouTube. So that should be coming more often. So that's the reason why more sort of full flight videos weren't coming. However, what I've decided to do on this channel from now on is to start an Around the World series. So basically, instead of just doing full flights from one part to the next, and I've seen this a lot on YouTube, a lot of people just do flights in one particular region. So a lot of people just fly in Europe or the United States, North America, basically. It's a very popular region to fly. However, what I've decided to do is to do an Around the World series. So maybe have like a passport system, and basically every time you land in a country, you get that particular passport like stamp, so like you get a visa for that country. So basically, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is supposed to be like basically a world simulator. You can look at all the wonders of the world at any particular point in time around the world. So what better simulator or what better platform to explore the world in except this one? So that's what I've decided to do. We're going to start off this series with this episode over here. We're going to disregard the previous episode. The previous episode was kind of like a test video where we did a flight from Madrid to Madrid Barajas International Airport to Lisbon. So if you haven't seen that, that's the top link down in the description section of the video, so go check that out. But this video is going to be the start of that series. I'm going to title it and everything. It's going to be all proper. And we're going to be taking Finnair 954, so Foxtrot India November 954, all the way from here in Copenhagen, Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, all the way to Helsinki Airport, which the airport code, if I remember, is Echo Foxtrot Hotel Kilo. It's going to be a wonderful flight. It's very windy right now here, cloudy sky conditions. It's midday at the moment, so the time currently, it shouldn't be 12:06. I'm actually going to make that 12:30 because our departure time today is going to be around about 12:59 p.m. So flight time today is going to be, I think, 1 hour and 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So a slightly tad bit longer than the previous flight we did. However, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very, very fun. A lot of cloud structures to look at. European cities just look absolutely fantastic. Even though the conditions are cloudy, it should still be fun to look at it from a high altitude environment. Now, coming to just a little bit more on the intro here, I've done a lot of sort of tweaking within the simulator, especially when it comes to the A320neo NX mod. And for some reason, I'm having this weird problem within the flight deck where every time I pan the camera in the cockpit view, regardless of my FPS would be like 40 to 50 frames per second. But for some reason, the camera stutters a lot. So that was another reason why I didn't want to publish a video, because I didn't know how that would look on a YouTube video and how sort of like, how happy the viewers are going to be if they see that sort of content. So I just didn't want to post a video like that, but I think I've found a workaround solution. It's still not a permanent solution, but it's a workaround solution. I've talked to a lot of people on the Discord servers and stuff, and if you guys are having a similar problem, that's also going to be shown as to how to fix that problem in this video, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, that's about it. So without further ado, let's jump into the flight deck and get the aircraft all started up. All right, so we don't have the wind anymore. That's good. Let's go ahead up to the overhead panel and get the external power. There we go. Let's get the batteries up and running. Let's get the overhead lights. Volume's a little bit too high. I'm just going to reduce that a tad bit here. There we go. Dome light can come to dim. We can get the cockpit ventilation and air conditioning knobs for the cockpit, the forward cabin, as well as the aft cabin to the middle position here. There we go. ADIRSs can come on to nav mode, so IR1, IR2, IR3. By the way, another thing, if you guys haven't seen the first episode of my Aircraft Dissected series on the A320neo, not just the A320neo, the A320 family of aircraft, which includes the A318, A319, 20, 21, as well as the neo variants. The first episode covers the left-hand column of the forward overhead panel, so we go into great detail about what each of these switches and knobs and lights do and the subsystems behind them. If you haven't seen that, that's also going to be linked down in the description section of the video. There's the aircraft doing some self-test mechanisms. So yeah, highly recommend you guys to go check that out if you want to know how to fly this aircraft in the best way possible. Anyway, so now this is where I'm going to demonstrate the problem I've been experiencing. So as you can see, I'm going to just roll up my FPS. My FPS is currently 45. So in any simulator, if you have 45 frames per second, you should have smooth sort of panning of the camera. And it is smooth. It's not super choppy or anything. But as you can see, every time we're here, it's sort of like the camera lags behind a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. Some people might just think it's like a first world problem, but it's really not. I mean, this is one of the good situations. I think Copenhagen Kastrup airport, where we're currently at, is handling it well. But if you're at London Heathrow or something like that, even if I'm getting 40 FPS or 45 FPS in good conditions with sort of low settings set in place, it's still kind of choppy, and I don't understand what's happening there. But the workaround I found to that, and I hope you can see the difference here, is if you turn off the first officer's displays here, like that kind of normalizes the frames per second again. So if you come to the overhead panel, I'll show you what I mean. So especially on the overhead panel, that effect is very prominent. So let's just go ahead and roll those first officer's displays on again. And now if I go to the overhead panel, look at how choppy it is when I'm kind of sort of panning around the camera. Especially, see, when I came away from the overhead panel view and came to the forward panel view, it was kind of choppy again. Like, look at that. It's a little bit choppy. And now look at the difference when I turn off the displays here. So if I go here and if I turn both the displays off, it's much more faster, it's much more crisper. Obviously the effect still persists a little bit, but I think it's much better. So we're going to fly with both the first officer's displays off. Anyways, we're just going to be flying in this view, so we're not going to be looking at that anyway. But yeah, from multiple conversations in the Discord servers, that's what I found. In the A320NX mod Discord servers, that's what the devs are telling me to do. They're like, the sim simply isn't optimized to be able to allow two different sides of the cockpit to be independently working, and that's causing issues with the CPU performance in some systems, which I don't know why. I have a pretty beefy system. But anyways, we're just going to get rid of that FPS counter, and we're going to go ahead and start programming the MCDU. So let's go into the init page. We're going to be taking off from Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, going all the way to Echo Foxtrot Hotel Kilo. And let's plug that in there. There we go. IRS initialization. That takes an absolute day. So let's just go ahead and start the alignment. Alternate and core route, company route. So I'm using Sim Toolkit Pro for the first time. So this is the software I'm using to be able to track my flights and everything. So let's go into flight planning. And here we should have all of the information we need. I'm still pretty new to this. So current flight. There we go. Okay. And here we have actually a super cool sort of feature where we have this pop-out reference card. So this is my entire flight plan over here, but if I pop out this reference card, I can essentially take this reference card and put it in the simulator, so you guys can see what the actual flight plan is right here. So you can follow along what I'm inputting into these values. So alternate airport is going to be, I don't know if the alternate airport is visible here. So is it? Let me just take a look at it real quick. No, I don't think it is. So the alternate airport, I guess we have to find here, which is Echo Echo Tango November. That's the alternate airport. So let's just go ahead and enter that in. Echo Echo Tango November. And the flight number is going to be Finnair, Foxtrot India November 954. The cost index. Again, oh yeah, no, cost index is available here. It's 5. So cost index is 5. There we go. This is so convenient having something like this. I was using Project Fly before this, but this is miles better, I have to say. Okay, cruising flight level. Now, where am I going to be able to find that? It doesn't say here. 330, I think, is the cruising flight level. Now, let me just confirm that here real quick. Yeah, it's 330. Perfect. Okay, wind information is still not simulated. This is, by the way, a stable version of A320neo mod. It's the version 0.41, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go to the next page and let's configure the zero fuel weight settings. Another thing that they've added with the latest update of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 itself is the ability to use metric units. So I bashed on that in the previous episode a little bit, and they've sort of listened to the community there. So our block fuel for today is going to be 6 tons. So let's go ahead and enter that in here. 6.8, 6.5, a little bit less, no, a little bit more. 29, 28 maybe. No, let's just carry 29. A little bit extra, never hurt anybody. Payload is going to be 18,720 kilograms, so it's going to be quite a bit. Actually, we're pretty close there. And the payload sort of slider also has a bug where if you slide it around way too much, it kind of messes up. So we're just going to leave it to 18,654 kilograms, and we're going to go ahead and select... Oh, again, the zero fuel weight calculation isn't entirely accurate, so we're going to use the zero fuel value here. Oops, what just happened here? There we go. So zero fuel weight is going to be 62.5, so we're going to enter that in. And we'll leave the zero fuel weight center of gravity calculation as is. The block fuel for today is going to be 6.2. That's what we've fueled into the aircraft. So let's go ahead and enter 6.2 in here. And there we go. That's the initialization data all completed. What else can we do? We can go ahead and start entering the flight plan information. So departure out of Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, and the route is, we're taking the Kema 4 Charlie departure, and the runway is going to be 22 right. So 22 right, and the standard instrument departure is Kema 4 Charlie. There we go. No transitions or anything, so let's go ahead and insert that. And from Chemax, we're taking the Tango 408 airway. Tango 408. And we're taking that all the way to the waypoint called Otveb. So Oscar Tango Victor Echo Bravo. There we go. Then direct from there to Evadi, so Echo Victor Alpha Delta India. That's a direct routing. Perfect. And then Yankee 370 is the next airway we're taking. So it's a pretty short route. It's not like double paged or anything. All the way to DVAM. So Delta India Victor Alpha Mike. Perfect. And then after that, we're just taking the Diva 4 Alpha arrival into Helsinki. So arrival. And the arrival runway is ILS 22 left. And Diva 4 Alpha arrival. We don't have any VIAs here as well. Perfect. Let's go ahead and insert that in there as well. No route discontinuities or anything. I don't think that's simulated, but I think this is a pretty straightforward route. There's not going to be any discontinuities anyway. Performance information, the V speeds should be calculated automatically. I think that's something they have fixed, so that's good. Transition altitude here is 5,000 feet. That is, again, you can use SimToolkit Pro. This is really, really cool. So if you go into the general information for each of these airports, there you go. You have the transition altitude, you have the runway elevation, slope, ISA deviation, density, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So 5,000 feet is set. Flex temperature, I'm just going to go ahead and set a random flex temperature of 56 degrees. That always seems to work. Flap setting is going to be 1, and the actual trim setting, I'm just going to go down 0.0. No need to calculate all of that. We're good to go. So everything is good. What's the time here? It's 12:41. We're still 20 minutes before departure, so we can have an early departure. Let's go ahead and start the APU here. And we can go ahead and see what our initial climb information is. So right now I'm looking at the charts. I wasn't able to figure out how to include the charts in the previous video, but what I can do is I can just basically take a screenshot of what I'm looking at and edit that into the video. So initial climb clearance is going to be flight level 70, which is 7,000 feet. So enter that in there. And last things last, we're going to go ahead and get the METAR information for this airport as well. So METAR can, again, I think be found on the load sheet here. So we can get that reference card. The METAR is over here. So the QNH is 1011. So let's switch this to millibars. 1011 is set. And we can also go ahead and set that on the standby display here. Perfect. 1011 is set. Let's get the flight directors on both sides. Let's get the constraint on my side, airport on the other side, and the auto throttle already armed and ready to go. So APU can also be started as we speak, and that the EGT as well as the end percentage for the APU should start rising. In the meantime, let's go ahead and also configure some lights within the flight deck. It's looking awfully dark. We don't like that. Integrity lights are on. Floodlights a little bit, maybe a little bit on the central pedestal here as well, and we can get the dome light off. We don't really need it anymore. There we go. And the IRSs have just finished aligning, so we have the IRS information all in here. Let's go ahead and check out the planned information here. So go into the flight plan and let's look at our entire route from start to finish. So range can be dialed to 10 and plan mode is selected. So we're departing out of Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, straight out departure, and then we have a left turn right after the, I think that is the Charlie Hotel 377 waypoint. And then after that, left turn, and then basically track back all the way over the ocean into Helsinki. So we have a couple waypoints, and then we basically have like a bit of a traffic pattern, turning base leg, and then for final into runway 22 left for Helsinki International Airport. So yeah, the flight plan looks all good. I'll switch this back to arc mode. Let's get the brightness of this display up a little bit, as well as the upper and lower ECAMs can come up. Flap is open. Almost started the APU. You can hear the faint rumble in the background. And what else do we have going on here? We can get the... Oh, we forgot to start up the no smoking signs and the emergency exit light, navig and logo light. We're making a few mistakes here. I haven't flown any aircraft and simulators for a while, so I am a little bit rusty. That should go away the more aircraft we fly here. Overhead integrity lights can come on a little bit more. APU is available. Let's go ahead and start the APU bleed. Let's get the crew supply for the oxygen on. And let's get the strobe light to auto as well. So I think we're pretty much good to go. We're going to have an early departure out of Copenhagen here, but I think that should be fine. I don't want to do anything with the time here. That's just going to be sort of irresponsible on my part. So let's just go ahead and connect the jetway. Now, you can do that without contacting air traffic control. Actually, you're going to have to dial in the air traffic control frequency anyway to be able to steer the tow. But for now, we can just press Shift P, and that's just going to go ahead and connect the pushback truck to the wheel to be able to push us back. In the meantime, though, let's just go ahead and tune the appropriate frequency. So ground is going to be a 121.9, so let's go ahead and enter that in here. Pretty simple. And then let's select ground services. And there we go, we have our pushback instructions page ready to go. Let's go ahead and get the beacon light on here, and the fuel pumps can come on. And let's get the external power off, no longer need that. Seatbelt signs can also come on. We can instruct the passengers to sit down. And there we go, we're starting to move. So parking brake released. Engine start switches can now go into ignition, and let's get engine 2 started on the push. So we should be taking a left turn here, so there should be a left turn coming up here. So the pushback tug needs to steer the aircraft to the right in order for us to be able to accomplish that turn. So let's put that over here. Hopefully we don't crash into any of the ground traffic here. Pretty sure we won't. We're good to go. We'll start the right turn right about now, in fact.
Kastrup ground speed bird 818 Foxtrot India November 954 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Speedbird 818 Foxtrot India November 954, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Perfect. Alright, so now we have to ensure that we don't crash into anything. We can in fact go ahead and stop the pushback right about now. We can just take this taxiway all the way to the left here. Alright. Engine. Alright, engine 2 is started, so let's go ahead and start engine number 1. Let's also go ahead and lock the cockpit door, and we're going to go ahead and look at the taxi routing. So again, I'm looking at the charts now. Again, it's not going to be recorded, so I'll leave a little sort of screenshot on screen to be able to... I'll just leave the chart on there so you can follow along. So we are currently here, and we're going to be taking off. So we're going to be going straight, and then we can cross runway 12/30 at Delta, or maybe Alpha as well. So we'll go straight and take a right, and then Alpha, and then straight on Alpha, all the way to 22 right. So it's a pretty straightforward taxi, to be honest. Not too much to do there. We can go ahead and get the taxi light up and running. And let's get the overhead integrity lights. I think that's the max brightness they have. Wing light we can worry about in a second. Everything else is pretty much good to go. Engine is firing up. There we go. The N1 is symmetric between both engines. Go ahead and turn the engine starts to normal mode. Arm the spoilers, get the flaps to position 1. Let's do a quick flight control check while the flaps are coming down. So, elevators full up, elevators full down, ailerons left, ailerons right, and then we can get the rudder full right, and the rudder full left. For some reason, the rudder still has problems within the simulator. I don't know what's wrong with, as you can see, the rudder is kind of twitchy. That's alright. Hopefully it doesn't create any problems mid-flight. And we can go ahead and get the parking brake is already off, so we can go ahead and start taxiing. So, let's go ahead and give it thrust. Again, the aircraft is super power hungry. I think the update for the thrust performance within the aircraft should be coming in the next update of the A320NX mod. So, that should be the time when that will happen. And yeah, let's also get the taxi. Yeah, okay, we already got the taxi right running. We no longer need the APU, so let's go ahead and turn off the APU bleed, as well as the master switch as well. There we go. The lighting has also been adjusted within the sim in the previous update, as I understand. The night lighting has been severely sort of improved, according to what they're saying, but the consensus within the community is there is no consensus. Basically, some people are saying that it's the best thing to have ever happened to the sim, and the other people are saying that it looks absolutely horrendous and brings them back to the old FSX days, which doesn't really give too much clarity of thought to the Asobo Studio developers. But it is the way it is, and I guess Asobo Studio have to stick with their decision that they made. But it's, in my opinion, it looks kind of good. I've done one night flight with this aircraft from London Heathrow to Copenhagen, yeah, it looks nice in my opinion. I don't think there's anything to complain here. Again, let me just look at the charts real quick. We can go ahead and take a right here, and then we'll go ahead and take a left further down the track. This is going to be a pretty severe right turn, let's be honest. There we go. And we're also getting a little bit of rain on the windshield, so you guys can probably see. Rain manages to follow us everywhere. Alright, so next to next turn. So I guess we're taking this turn over here, if I'm not mistaken. There's a bus in front of us. I hope we don't crash into it. There's a lot of I hopes in this sentence happening, which is not very comforting. Yeah, please don't cross. We don't want an episode like last time. Oh, you're gonna cross, aren't you? Just wait for me. I don't want to clip you with my wing. Alright, so we can go ahead and go straight and cross the runway right here. In the meantime, let's also go ahead and do the takeoff config test. Takeoff is normal. Auto brake we can set in a second, and let's also get the passengers and crew to sit down.
Cabin proceeds for takeoff, please.
Perfect. We also have to increase the thrust a tad bit, because this aircraft is like a snail. It just doesn't move. Also, we're about to cross a runway, so let's get the strobe lights up and running as well. There we go. And we're still very slow. Let's just get a little bit more thrust in here. 37.5%. That's insane. 37.5% thrust is insane for just taxiing. This sort of aircraft, it taxis just on its own merit. At idle thrust, this aircraft will start taxiing. And, oh, this is weird. That's all I can say. There's the beautiful wing view. And you can see the strobe lights beaming on the ground. Beautiful reflection effects. And we're going to miss that left turn looking at those reflection effects, so let's not do that. Let's continue straight here. So, final check for the charts, going straight on Alpha, and then we can take a first left on Alpha 1, and that should be where we're supposed to go. Let's get the predicted wind shear to auto, and let's also get the TCAS armed. Let's switch this to 2000. Let's get the TCAS mode to TARA as well. And wow, this aircraft does taxi very, very slow. Gonna give it a little bit more thrust, get it in the high 30s here, 39.6. That's almost 40% N1. That's insane. No aircraft requires 40% N1 to taxi on the ground, but it is what it is. There's the tower. I'm actually looking forward to this departure a lot. because the clouds should be brilliant. Alright, so we're taking a left turn here, so let's start slowing ourselves down. And let's go ahead and enter the runway. And also, I'm going to go ahead and tune out of the ground control frequency. Or as soon as we take off, it's going to bark at us saying, "Oh, you didn't have clearance to take off." We don't want that. Okay, as we enter the runway, let's get the runway turnoffs on. Landing lights can come on. Nose light can go to taxi. Wing light can come on. Let's get that to all. One more ding to the cabin. Get everybody to sit down. And let's also get the weather radar up and running here. Let's take that right turn. Let's also get the weather returns on the ND lower. Perfect. And let's go ahead and do a standing takeoff, all proper and stuff. So let's go ahead and brake the aircraft here. There we go. And let's set the parking brake. And let's arm the auto brake here. Do a quick flow to see if everything's up and running. All the lights are armed, seatbelt signs are switched on, fuel pumps are all on. Any mistakes we would have made would have been done around 5 to 10 minutes ago, so nothing we can do about it now. Anyways, let's go ahead and release the parking brake, and we are all good to go. So 50% thrust. Symmetric thrust has been established. Man flex. 56 degrees, SRS, runway, and auto thrust is blue. Airspeed is alive. 80 knots. 100 knots. V1. Rotate. Right. Positive right gear up. And a slight left turn as we climb out of here. Pitch is going to be about 20 degrees. It's quite a harsh rate of pitch here. But we're going to continue flying it just like we did in the previous episode until we have flap up. Okay, lever climb. We're going to get throttle climb. There we go. And the flight director is asking us to pitch the aircraft down. Now, I don't know what they did in the previous update, but I think the trim settings in the aircraft have been a little bit weird because my sight stick, I'm literally pitching it all the way down here. So the movements required to control the aircraft have become quite extreme. There we go, we're close to flap up. Let's go ahead and take flap up. And we can go ahead and arm the autopilot here as well. There we go. And the aircraft is now accelerating to 250 knots and will soon begin climbing. So, go ahead and turn off the runway turnoffs as well as the nose lights. And we can go ahead and also disarm the spoilers and continue watching the ascent. There's that beautiful water. Look at that. That looks real. That looks absolutely fantastic. Should be coming into the clouds very shortly here. In fact, the right wing should have a view of the clouds. There we go. Look at that. And there's that left turn. All right, 5,000 feet. We can go ahead and switch to standard barometric pressure. So 2992 is set. And we can also go ahead and increase our altitude to 34,000 feet. And let's go ahead and say managed climb is set. Now the aircraft should practically do everything by itself. Again, just like the previous full flight we did, I'll divide the entire flight into two distinct parts. Part 1 is going to be just the departure out of Copenhagen, and the part 2 is going to be the entire descent, approach, and landing into Helsinki. Both episodes should be coming out very shortly. The reason I actually divided is not for any sort of video purposes. It's practically just to save me some render time, because otherwise it's like a 1 hour 51 minute render, which takes a lot of time for my computer to process. All right, above 8,100 feet. Look at that. Just broke through the clouds. We're just cloud surfing now. Should be coming up on that left turn very, very shortly. In fact, should be happening right about now. It's a very long arc turn. around a 2.5 nautical mile left turn we're taking. I'm getting pretty close to the 10,000 feet mark, so let's go ahead and turn off the runway lights, as well as the wing lights here. There we go. And we'll release the cabin crew as well as the passengers to move around in the back as soon as we make that left turn. There we go. Let's watch this left turn. Alright, so as we complete that left turn, I've actually put a direct routing towards the Charlie Hotel 361 waypoint over here. So we're going to be taking a right turn momentarily. So we'll leave the seatbelt signs on for now, but we can release the cabin crew so they can begin their beverage service. Again, very small flight. I don't think there's going to be any food service on board. Plus, it's Finnair, so I don't really know if they're known for their hospitality. I might be wrong. I don't really know much about Finnair, but if they are, then good for them. Yeah, there's that right turn. So after that, we pretty much have a long cruise. If I even dial the range up to 320 nautical miles, we have a long cruise towards the east. So we're going to be going north above the ocean. There's really nothing much to see apart from clouds. It's a very cloudy day here in Scandinavia. And yeah, as we approach Helsinki, we should have a little bit more action in terms of the land and some sunset colors, because it's very north. Helsinki's located in a very northern part of the world, and the sunset happens very early, so we should be coming up just prior to sunset. So the colors and everything should be spectacular. Anyways, just like the previous video, I'll let you guys enjoy the climb and cruise portion of the full flight in the next episode of the series, and that should just be, I mean, I'm pretty sure that video's already been released. If you guys just watch that video right after this, that should be the climb and cruise, as well as the descent, approach, and landing into Helsinki. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for flying by.